Hello all. In this lecture, we will see about multidimensional arrays. So, multidimensional arrays are arrays with more than one dimension. So, we have already seen single dimensional arrays, and also we have seen how to declare single dimensional strings. So, we can have multi dimensions. That is, if I want to add two matrices and all, if you want to store two-dimensional matrix or three-dimensional. So for that we require arrays. So for that we can use arrays with more than one dimension. So we will see how to declare multi-dimensional arrays. So this is the way to declare this multi-dimensional arrays. It is same only, same as single dimension. The only thing is we have to add one more size. So data type, that is a data type that should be shown, then the array name, then within square bracket size 1 and size 2. If it was single dimension, we will be mentioning only this size 1. So if you want to declare three dimension, then you have to add one more size 3. So this is an example, int ARR 8. So this stores 8 by 8, 64 element array. This is a 64 element array. Then if you want to declare three-dimensional array, you can declare like this: data type, array name, size 1, size 2, size 3. You can declare any dimensions, but we won't be using much 2, 3 and 4 and all. We'll be using mainly two-dimensional arrays. So this is an example, int ARR368. So this can store this much number of elements, 3 into 6 into 8. That much number of elements can be stored in that particular array. Now this is an example for this declaration, float x 3.4. So this x is a float array with dimension 3 into 3 by 4. So that means we can store 12 elements. So the element will be like this. First element will be 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, and last element will be 0, 3. That is, we have 4 columns. So the last element will be 0, 3. Then second row will be 1 0 1 1 1 2, like that, 1 3. Then third row will be 2 0 2 1 2 2 2 3. Okay, so since this is 3, this row will be 0 1 2, and since this is 4, the column will be up to 0 1 2 3. Okay, now how to initialize arrays. So we have already seen how to initialize single dimensional arrays. Similarly, in two-dimensional arrays also, we can initialize these arrays using the same format. So this is a two-dimensional array initialization. So if we want to initialize C 2, 3, so it will consist of 6 elements, which consist of 2 rows and 3 columns. So it should be written like this. So within braces, we will be writing 130. So these 3 elements belong to the first row. The next 3 elements will belong to the second row. So this will be 0 0 0 1 0 2. Then this will be 1 0 1 1 and 1 2. Then this is another way to initialize the same thing. We'll be specifying the column elements. We are not specifying the size of the row. So it will automatically take 3 as column. So this will be 0 0 0 1 and 0 2. So it will automatically take this rows as 2. Then this is another way to initialize the same thing, C equal to 2 comma 3. We can simply mention like this. So it will take 0 0 0 1, this is 0 2, then 1 0 1 1 and 1 2. The same initialization. All these ways we can initialize the same array. And this is how to initialize a three-dimensional array, 2 3 4. So it is like 2 rows or 3 columns, then then third dimension is also there. So we have to take like this, 2 3 4. Then this will be 0 0, 0 0 0 0 0 1 0 0 2 and 0 0 3. So these will fill the first 4 columns. Okay, then next one, I can't say that it is a column at all. You should imagine that is a third dimension. So it will be 0 0 0 1 0 2 and 0 3. Then second, this will be 1 0, this will be 0 0 1 0 0 1 2, 0 1 1 0 1 2 and 0 1 3. Then next it will be 0 2 0 0 2 1 0 2 2 and 0 2 3, and this will be 1. So actually this these four elements can be considered as the first zeroth row. Then this will be the first one. So this is the first dimension, zeroth dimension. This is the one dimension of this one. Okay, so maybe rows, first zeroth row and first row. Then this three elements means this one set will be the first element, second and third element. And this four represents these four elements. Like that, you have to consider the initialization of three-dimensional arrays. Okay. Then we'll see some example. So I'll run this program in GD online GDB compiler. So this is the example we have seen. This is a three-dimensional array we have seen. So we are declaring 2, 3, 4, and we are initializing these elements like this. Now if you run this program, you can see which all elements are initialized. So this will be the thing. So 0, 0, 0, 1. So if you see this 0, 0, 1 will be 4. Sorry. 0, 0, 0, 0 will be 3, then 0, 0, 1 will be 4, like that, 0, 0, 2, 0, 0, 3. Then after that, it will be 0, 1, 0. So 0, 1, 0 will be this element, like this, 0, 1, 1, 1, like that, this initialization happens. So this initialization will happen like this 2, 3, 4. Then for this is how you have to get the values. If you want to print those values, you have to use three variables I, j, k. So I will be initialized from 0 to 2. It should be 0 and 1. So this is the first thing. Then the second thing 0 to 3. This is 1. Then the k should be from 0 to 4. This for this element. Then you can print simply percentage d, percentage d, percentage d, equal to percentage d. So you are simply printing I, j, k and also the value of test of I, j, k. So first it will be test. First this will be 0, this will be also 0, and this will also be 0. Then what happens? Test of 0, 0, 0 will be printed. After that, k value will be incremented by 1. So k becomes 1. Then 0, 0, 0, 1 will be printed. Then after that 0, 0, 2 will be printed. 0, 0, 3 will be printed. Then k becomes, when k becomes 4, this will exit this loop. It will come here to this loop. Then it will check whether j less than 3. J value will be incremented. J was 0, j becomes 1. So 1 less than 3, it is true. So again it comes here. So k equal to 0. Then k 0 is less than 4. So the next value will be printed. That is 0, 1, 0 will be printed. Then 0, 1, 1 will be printed. Like that. So after completing this, again it goes here. Like that it will be repeating. So that's why how we get these elements. So 0, 0, 0. So first iteration, this will be completed. The four elements will be printed. Then after that, this j becomes 1. So that is why 0, 1, 0 will be printed. Like that it will repeat. Okay. So this is an example for three-dimensional. This is another example for two-dimensional. So we have to store, so this is a program to store temperature of two cities of a week and display it. So we'll be storing the temperature of two cities of a week. So 7 days temperature we need to store, and it will be displayed. So we are declaring these two constants, city as 2 and week as 7. So these are constants. So instead of entering size, so we can simply declare this array in temperature of city and week. So city will be replaced by 2 and week will be 7. Now we are using a nested loop. So for int I equal to 0, I less than city, I plus plus I, then for int j equal to 0, j less than week plus plus I. Now you are asked to enter, the values of temperature. So instead of printing city 0 and day 0, we are simply printing city 1. That for that we are using, since it is initially I equal to 0. So we want to print the city 1 and city 2 rather than city 0 and city 1. So we are printing like this: city 1 and day 1. You have to enter one temperature, and the temperature will be entered in 0, 0. Temperature 0, 0 will be entered. So first is city 1 and temperature 1, day 1 temperature will be entered. Then after that j becomes 1. Then city 1 temperature, if you run this program, you can see this. So you have to enter city 1 day 1. So it will be printed like the city 1 day 1. You have to enter the temperature now. So you have to enter the temperature. The scanf, now it's the scanf. You have to enter a temperature. I am entering as 34 and I am pressing the enter key. Then again what happens, city 1 day 2. So what happens, this loop will be repeated. Now j becomes 1, j becomes 1. So j becomes 1 means here uh, city remains 1, it's city is 0 itself, I is 0 itself, so city 1 will be printed here and day 2 will be printed. Since j has become 1, j plus 1 is day 2. Now we will be entering the temperature 0 in the element 0 1. So we will get, you can enter any value. I am entering as 32. So I am entering as 32. I am entering pressing 3. Then again this inner loop will be repeated. This will be repeated 7 times. So we have to enter 7 days temperature. So I am entering 7 days temperature, day 5. Now after that, so I have entered day 2. When it reaches 7, when j becomes 8, this loop will be terminated and it increments I value to 1. Then 1 less than 2. So again it comes here 1 0. So we have to enter the next city, that is city 2 day 1. So you can enter any value. So it will be repeated like this. It will go on repeating. So you have to enter 7 temperatures of city 2 also. Then after that, you are going to print, display the values. So you can simply print for India equal to 0, I less than city and j equal to 0, j less than week. You have to print that thing. Print of city, percentage d percentage d. So this percentage d will be replaced by I plus 1. So we need to print like this. So if you see the print, so displaying values. So displaying values should be printed like city 1 day 1. So this percentage d will be replaced by I plus 1 because I is initially 0. So we have to print city 1 like this. So you have to make it I plus 1. Then day percentage d will be replaced by j plus 1. Sorry, this is, so here city 1 day 1 percentage d equal to percentage d. So here with this percentage d will be replaced by temperature ij. So that temperature will be replaced. So whatever we have entered will be displayed here. So all those things will be displayed here. So this is a simple example to show this two-dimensional array, how this works. Now I'll show another example. So this is an example to find the sum of two matrices of 2 by 2. You can add any matrix. So you can add 2 by 2 matrix here. So you are declaring two float matrices A and B and you will be storing that result in another matrix. So it is of size 2 by 2. Okay, 2 by 2. Then you have to enter the elements of first matrix. So for that you have to use two for loops, I j value, and it will be repeated here 2 times. So you will be entering enter a, and you are replacing this percentage d by a1. So you have to show, you have to display like enter a11, a12, a13 like that. If you want, you can store like this I plus 1. You have to display like this I plus 1 and j plus 1. Then you have to enter in a00. So first element will be entered in a00, then the second element in a01, 02, like that it will go. So you have only two elements. Okay, sorry, you will have only two elements. So 2 by 2, so 2 rows and 2 columns. Then similarly you will be taking the second matrix, you will be taking input from the second matrix. So you will be using I equal to 0, I less than 2, j equal to 0, j less than 2, and b 0. So here percentage d won't be displaying b00, you will be displaying b11, b12. You can display in any manner. If you want, you can display in b00, b01 like that. Here it will be displaying b11, b12. Then you have to enter that value. Then you have to add these matrices and store it in result. So you can store it in result. Simply you have to use two for loops. And what you have to do, you have to add these two matrices. A00 plus should be added with B00, and the result should be stored in result 00. So it will be repeating this 4 times. Then you are simply displaying that result matrix. So simply you have to display, and you are using this formatting. You have already learned about this float point. Since we are entering float matrices, you have to use percentage point one, or anything you want you can display. And if j equal to 1, whenever j becomes 1, then you have to print this. So it is to show, it is to display in two lines, because that it consists of two rows. So for that we are checking this if statement, so that it will be displayed in two separate lines. Two rows will be displayed in two different lines. So I'll run this program. If I run enter A1, so you have to enter some matrix. So you can enter floating point values. So I am entering floating point values. So enter A12, then 13.5. I can enter any values, 21.4. Now I'll be entering second value. B enter the elements of second matrix B11, 21.1. Then 34.5, 23.4. Then one more element, 12.4. So I have entered both the values. I have to press the enter key. Now the result, sum of matrix, will be displayed like this. Sum of matrix 34.5. So here what happens is, you can see this element. So this slash n works at the end of this 46.9. After that slash n, so if that j equal to becomes 1, we will be printing the next line. So next two elements will be printed in the next two lines. Okay. So this is an example for displaying the sum of the matrices. Then this is another example to store these elements 2, 3, 2. So we have already seen how to initialize this array. We can enter elements in a three-dimensional array. We won't be using this three-dimensional array. It's just for your knowledge how to enter these values. So you have declared an array test 2, 3, 2. Then you have to enter 12 values. So we have to use three loops. If it is a three-dimensional, you have to use three loops. And the first loop should repeat from 0 to 2. Then second from 0 to 3. Then third from 0 to 2. And you can simply enter 0, 0, 0. It will be entered automatically. You can enter 12 elements. If you run, you have to enter 12 elements. So you have to enter 12 values, 12, 23, 12. So and then after that it will be printed. So for displaying also you have to use three for loops, and you are simply printing just 0, 0, 0. All those values will be printed like this. So displaying just 0, 0, 0, then 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, like that it will be printed. So you can see how this loops work. So 0, 0, 0 and 0, 0, 1. So this loop will be terminated. Then j will be incremented. So 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1 will be printed. After that, again j will be incremented. Like that it will go on. Okay. So in this way it will be printing. Now one more example. So this is to find the transpose of a matrix. You know how to find the transpose of a matrix. You have to change the rows into columns and columns into rows. So we have a matrix A. So this is the input matrix and this is the resultant transpose matrix. And we are declaring some variables R, C for rows, columns, and some I, J values also. Then here printf you have to enter the rows and columns. So you have to enter, the user has to enter the total number of rows and columns also. So you have to enter percentage 2 rows and columns. Then you have to you are asked to enter the matrix values. So enter matrix elements. You have to use two for loops. Since it is a two-dimensional matrix, you have to use two for loops. Now you have to enter element. You are simply displaying this A11. So you have to enter A11 like that. If you want, you can print like this I plus 1 and j plus 1. it is not needed. You can use ij. Then simply A00 will be printed. Here it will be A11, A12, like that it will be printed. Then you have to scan and you'll be storing it in the corresponding ij values. After that, you will be displaying that matrix also. This is similar to the previous one. So it will be repeating this up to R and C. So you'll be entering this row and column value. So the outer loop will be repeating in the number of rows, and this will be the inner loop will be the number of columns. Similarly, when you display that matrix also, you have to enter, you have to display up to R and C times. So you are simply printing this percentage D Aij. Then whenever it reaches that particular thing, you have to switch to the next line. So whenever that C becomes, when the column ends, when the first row finishes, you have to switch to the next line. That's why I am using this if statement here. Then you have to find the transpose of the matrix. So for I equal to 0, I less than R. Here j equal to 0, j less than C. What you have to do is, you have to transpose means you have to change I and j values. So transpose, you can either change aij values, or you can transpose, you can store like this and later print in the reverse manner. So what I am doing is, I am changing ji. I am getting the values of aij in transpose ji. Now when you display this matrix, what you have to do is, you have to display in correct order ij. So what happens? You have changed the columns to rows and rows to columns. That's what is happening here. So the values will be stored. So you can you have to write, see some examples. You have to write some examples and see. So what happens here is, 0 0 will be stored in 0 0 itself. Then 0 1 will be stored in the column. This value will be 1 0. So 0 1 0 1 will be stored in 1 0. Then 0 2 will be stored in 2 2 0. Okay, like that it will go on. Okay, so we are changing the rows and columns here. Then after that, when you display it, you have to display in ij itself. And whenever this is to display in the new line. Okay, so here, so you are repeating this column and rows. You are reversing this here also. The loop, for loop here repeats from I equal to 0 to column and j equal to 0 to rows, that number of rows. Then you are simply printing in the transpose of ij. So you are changing, you are storing as such in the transpose matrix, then you are printing it. Okay. So automatically the rows will be changed to columns and columns will be changed to rows. So we can compile this. You can enter any number of rows and columns. So I'll be entering 2 rows and 3 columns. Now you have to enter matrices. So you have to enter 1, 3, 1, 2, 4, 5. Okay. Now I entered a matrix like this. The entered matrix is 1, 3, 1, 2, 4, 5. So you have to print 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 5 will be printed. So the transpose will be like this. So yeah, entered matrix is 1, 3, 1. We have 2 rows and 3 columns. So when transpose happens, this will be changed like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 5 will be displayed. So for that we are using this thing. So you have to remember this logic. What you are doing is, you are storing that aij in transpose of ji. Then after that you have to repeat this column. You have to change rows and columns. So you are repeating a column number of times. So that is why we have get 3 rows. There were 3 columns. It has been changed to 3 rows. Now there were 3 columns. It is changed to 2 columns. Okay. So then you will be displaying it like this. Then one more example I will show. This is about 2-dimensional strings. This is not necessary. So those who want, you can study this thing. So how to store strings in 2 dimensions. So I am declaring a character array str 10 50. Then I am having another array temperature of 50. Now you are asked to enter 5 words. So you are asked to enter 5 words. So you are for I equal to 0. So here we have to use, you can store in a single dimension itself. So you have to mention only the row values. So str of 0, the first string will be stored. This is scan set. You know all these things. This is scan set. So str of 0, you will be storing the first string. Str of 1, you will be storing the second string. So in that str of 0, you can store up to 49 characters, and the last character will be slash 0. You know that. So up to 49 characters you can store. So you can give like this. There is no need for two for loops and all in the case of strings. So simply you can say str of I. So it shows str of 0, it will be stored. Okay. Then the only thing is you have to specify the column size correctly. You have to mention that column size. So even if when you initialize some strings, you have to correctly mention that column size. Without mentioning that column size, you cannot initialize strings also. So we have know how to initialize this strings and all. Inside braces you can give the strings and all. Within double quotes you have to show that strings and all. So you can enter strings like this. String str of 0 of the first string will be stored, str of 1 the second string, like that it will go on. Then here what you are doing is you are trying to sort these strings. So whatever 5 strings you have entered, you will be sorting this inside this thing. So you will be taking the first string I equal to 0. This is like simply like bubble sort and all. So you will be using two loops. So first string and the inner loop, what it does is it will be taking the this is 0th string and this will be the first string. Then you will be comparing the 0 string with first string. If it is greater, then you have to do all this swapping. So this is actually swapping. String copy means you will be storing this in temporary, and this j will be stored in I, then temp will be stored. So you are simply swapping str of I and str of j. That is 0th, and if this is greater, so if str of y, str of j is greater, then you have to swap this. Then you'll be repeating this 5 times. So you'll be sorry, n number of 5 into 5 times it will be repeated. 5 squared times it will be repeated. Uh, so this will go on repeating. Then you are simply printing this. So already it will be sorted. Those arrays will be sorted. You have to simply print this strings. str of 0, str of 0, everything will be printed. So this way you can use. So you have to enter 5 strings. I am entering hello, Arun, Jacob, Manu, Neen. So I have entered 5 strings. Now it will be sorted. So you can see the sorted strings like this. So Arun, A, H, J, M. So it will be automatically stored. So it will be stored in str of 0, str of 1. So you can store up to 50 character, 49 characters. Okay. Each string will be of length maximum you have declared as 50. 10 comma 50 means you can store up to 50 characters. You can have 10 words also, but I am storing only 5 words. Okay. So this way it will be done. So this is just for your knowledge. So I have an exercise also. So you have to program to find the transpose of a matrix. You have already seen that example. So you try to do that by yourself and try to give some examples, some values, some 6 element array or 7, 8 element array like that. You have to enter those elements and you have to check how it works and all. Then we have to program to find the sum of two matrices. That all this program also I have shown. It is simple program. You do this for a difference also. You can try for subtraction of two matrices also. Then program to find the product of two matrices. So you know how to find the product of two matrices. You know the mathematical way. So you try to convert it into an algorithm and do this program also. So that's all. Thank you.